Thanks so much for joining us today on a new episode of Rec Chat's Elevate Your Path. I am Michael Brito with Rec Chat Committee, and today I have Andrew Havrisko from Rowan University. Please introduce yourself for the crowd.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Mike. Again, my name is Andrew Havrisko. I'm currently the Assistant Director for Intramural Sports and Special Events with Rowan Campus Recreation in Glassboro, New Jersey.
Nice. Thanks for being here. So first off, what is your job and position connection with NERSA? What do you officiate? How long have you been doing that? And how did you get started in officiating?
Yeah, so first of all, just in my position as intramural sports and special events, I've been connected with NERSA through my time as an undergrad back in 2008, I think is the first time I got involved with NERSA. So I've been, connected to the NERSA Champ Series and events of that nature back when I was officiating as an undergrad all the way through present day, pre-COVID times. I was actively involved on committees and working different regional events, both for basketball and flag football, and then also served on as a divisional coordinator for NERSA club soccer, as well as in Region 1. So I've been involved in quite a few different sports. As far as officiating, I actually started officiating when I was in probably middle school. Started working Little League games when I was, fresh out of Little League as a slightly older than Little League aged kid. And then I ended up getting my soccer license, my grade 8 license to do soccer while I was in high school, and started doing that. Then I came to college and really started doing a lot more sports, got into intramural sports at Rowan, and as an undergrad, started working the circuit, doing flag football, basketball, volleyball, all the things that most of our campuses have. So, I've been officiating now for almost 20 years at this point in some capacity. And currently, the highest level that I work right now is NCAA Division II women's basketball. I opted out of this season just for COVID concerns. There's not really a lot of games going on in the Northeast right now. So not working this season currently, but as of the past season, that was what I was working.
Wow, I didn't realize you started so early.
Yeah, I've been doing this a while.
So was there a moment when you realized that you belonged in the officiating world? Did you have your moment where you feel like I made it?
It's a hard question because I think the officials never really feel like you've made it, unless you're working the white hat of the Super Bowl, or you're at the highest level of your profession. I don't know that there's really ever a time where you feel like you've made it. There's definitely milestones that you hit as an official where you start out working. If you're working in high school, you start out working, middle school, freshman games, you get your first JV game, you're excited. You get your first varsity game, you're excited. The same thing happens as you kind of climb the ladder where, I can remember working my first college game was, or junior college game was really exciting to get to that kind of next level. And then you work your first Division III game, and that's really exciting. And then you work your first Division II game, and you get your first playoff assignment. All those things, kind of compile themselves and feel like a new rush of adrenaline and excitement that gets shot into you. So one of my favorite quotes from just working the circuit of officials is, whenever you get to the point of being comfortable, that it's not exciting to step on the floor for you, then it may be time as an official to explore that next level of whatever that means for you, because it should always feel like a rush of adrenaline anytime that you step on the court. Right now for me, for basketball, it's always exciting no matter what level of game I'm working. I'm always just amped up to get on the floor and work that game.
Yeah, that's a nice perspective. Once you lose the fun, then it becomes challenging.
Yeah, it's time to do something else.
Is there a moment where you had that was a highlight of your fishing career, and was there a challenging moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think highlight of my officiating career, getting to work just conference playoff games in college is a big deal. And so I was fortunate enough to have my first conference playoff assignment not this past season because we didn't have one, but the year before that. And it's a different atmosphere. You get to the regular season and all the games are exciting and you're amped up, but when you get into a playoff game, it's kind of a different feeling, from everything from the drive there to the pregame conversation to getting on the floor to, meeting with individuals who are present. If there's an alternate official, all those things that you're just not used to in a regular season game that kind of get amped up for you a little bit. So, anytime that you can get an assignment where it's more of an exclusive selection, you were picked out of a pool of your colleagues and recognized for the work that you did in the regular season, and chosen to officiate whatever it is, a playoff game, a championship game. Those are all highlights, I think, of any official's career.
Right. Was there a challenging moment where at times just felt difficult for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy avocation for sure. There's definitely moments where you question, how good am I as an official, whether it's from players or coaches or even just your own film review. There have been times when I've looked back at film and just felt awful about the game that I had. And you're just like, I am terrible at officiating. Like, that was so bad. And that part of that is being able to recognize your mistakes, but not so much focus on how awful you were in a particular moment or instance, but really focusing more on, what was it that led to me getting that call wrong? Or like, why wasn't I able to see that in the right way? And focusing on what you can do differently the next time to, be in a better position to make that call, or, have better communication the pregame with your crew to talk about coverage areas and who's going to be taking certain calls and scenarios that could come up in the game. So I think over time I've kind of learned to try not to beat myself up too much, especially when coaches and players are giving you feedback, because a lot of times, while they're passionate and in the moment, they may not have the best comprehension of the rule book. And so when they start arguing things, you definitely want to give them your ear, and you want to make sure that they're hearing, you're hearing what they're saying, but don't take everything that a coach or a player says as gospel, because film doesn't really lie. So being able to go back and have an honest reflection, but also, don't just look at the results, look at how we got to that point and what we can do differently the next time to do better. And that's whether you have a good game or a bad game. But there have certainly been times where, you definitely get kind of down on yourself and you start questioning your own abilities when you can do better. And that's, to me, that's a mark of an official who wants to improve and do the best that they can at their craft. So it's a hard thing for sure. It's not easy to be an official, but it's rewarding, and I still enjoy it. So
nice, good stuff. So when you're out there on the court, what helps you establish your presence during that game? How do you find the confidence to use your voice?
Yeah, I mean, I think finding your voice on the court is a skill that just takes time and practice. I think trying different things is the first step. Sometimes, there have been plenty of instances in a game where I've put my foot in my mouth and I've said something that probably wasn't the best way to say that in a game. And so you have to be kind of your own harshest critic and take an honest reflection and ask colleagues and attend these camps and seminars and find a group of people that you can rely on and their opinion matters to you, and just see what they would do in similar circumstances. I've had plenty of challenging situations where I've gone about something in a way that I thought was best, and then you bring it up with one of your study groups or other people that you're involved with. You ask their opinion, and you get a completely different perspective on how you could have handled the situation. So I think all of those tools end up going into your proverbial toolbox of what you can do in a game. But for officials that are kind of getting into it, I would say the first thing is, go to those camps, go to the Champ Series events, get the feedback from those evaluators and people who have been in those situations before. And then mold it to your game. I mean, every person is going to be individual. So something that I do in my game and that I say to coaches or players, just based on my personality or the way that I deliver it, it might work really well for me, and it might not work at all for another official. So finding what works for you and what the players and coaches are receptive to is important. Another thing too is, the one piece of advice I would give more than anything is just making sure that first interaction with either a player or a coach isn't just a negative, hey, I'm here to punish you for something that you've done wrong on the court. You want to try to build some level of rapport and conversation with players or coaches, so that the first when we have to get to that point of either issuing warnings or technical fouls or whatever the case might be, that they've heard our voice and our presence in the game before that, and we're not just coming over to slam them with texts for behavior that they've had that we've never really talked or addressed. So yeah, I think it's a constant work in progress, but it's something that evolves over time as officials.
Right. So, do you feel like officiating has helped you develop outside of that job? Maybe, in your other job as a person?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the one thing that you run into every single time you step on the floor is there's some level of game management, conflict management, the communication skills, all the things that you go through in an every single game basis, no matter what the score is or who's playing. All of that stuff translates to not just my own job, but personal life as well. I think it teaches you how to de-escalate certain situations and try to have a reasonableness, I guess, about you in situations that escalate to be less than reasonable. And so, I think I've carried some of those skills that I've learned on the basketball court into all facets of my life, whether it's, at work or at home.
Nice. So, do you have a pregame routine, a specific meal, specific playlist, something to help you get in the zone before officiating?
You know what? I really don't. I feel like a lot of officials do, as far as, to me, there's a stereotype around of officials that, like, the majority of officials are like type A, like really regimented and structured and everything that goes along with that. I don't necessarily think I fit that mold as well. I think I'm fairly laid back and kind of a go with the flow type of person. So the biggest thing for me, the pregame routine is that's most important just for my headspace is just making sure that I am at the game site in plenty of time to do what I need to do and just decompress a little bit. So, I'll arrive at the game site early. So for whatever level game, different levels have different requirements of when you need to be there and on the game site, but I'll make sure I give myself plenty of time to kind of get in the locker room. I usually have a little massage gun that we'll use that to kind of loosen up the muscles in the locker room and stretch out a little bit, get ready. Always a pregame conversation with your fellow officials. Again, depending on the level you work, if you're working, low level, high school, freshman level, or middle school, that might not always be the possibility. But I would just encourage you to always have some kind of pregame. It might be 5 minutes as your other officials getting dressed and walks into that space, but try to get on the same page with that other individual or individuals if you're working a 3-person system, just because that will hopefully make your game go a little bit smoother and understand where each other are coming from going into the game. It's not, you never want it to be a battle of different officials calling different things or seeing different things on the court. You want to try to be on the same page at all times, and if you don't have a good pregame, then it makes it really tough. So yeah, I just kind of mix it up. No real pregame meal, no real pregame playlist. It's really just a kind of a introspective time for a little bit, and then it's really getting into situations and matchups and talking with your crew about what you have coming up.
Nice. Going with the flow and just always staying ready.
That's it.
So now we are on to our rapid fire questions. There's a lot of good advice, a lot of good things for younger officials to keep in mind. Rapid fire questions. I'm just going to shoot off a bunch of questions and you tell me what comes to mind.
All right.
Basketball or soccer?
Basketball, I think naturally right now.
Yes, I see the shirt. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you officiate another sport, what would it be?
Probably baseball or softball. I'm a big baseball fan, so I think doing that would be my second choice.
Nice. Beach or mountains?
I'll go beach if I'm with my wife because she's a big beach person. But if I'm flying solo, I'll go to the mountains.
Adidas or Nike?
Nike for me.
Nike. Do you have a favorite city to travel to?
Yes, I'm sure you know what my favorite city to travel to, Mike, is, but it's out in the desert out west. Las Vegas, Nevada would be my list.
Nice, a lot of fun times. Pre-game conversation or post-game conversation?
Well, I said it before. I think a pregame is critical to having a successful game, and so I'll go pregame. I like both. I like having post games too, but if I had to pick one, I'll go pregame.
All right, Gatorade or Powerade?
The strawberry lemonade Powerade for me.
Ooh, specific. I like it.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite call or signal to make?
A favorite call or signal? I mean, I think block charges are the most fun in any game where you you get your moment in the sun for everybody to look at you and see what the heck is going on and what we're going to do. So I think block charges are the most fun, but also one where you could be really confident and sell your call and make everybody believe you. And then you go watch it afterwards and again, find out you were completely wrong for any number of reasons. But in the moment, I think it's probably the most exciting call that an official makes in the basketball court.
Last one. If you had to put a number on it, how many times have you read a rule book?
A rule book or the basketball rule book?
Any.
Oh my gosh. Hundreds, I would say. A lot. Yeah. I mean, you can't be a good official without knowing the rules of the sport. So there's a saying we use and a lot of folks use in campus rec of like fake it till you make it. And that works in the beginning phases because there is something to be said about confidence and how you project yourself as an official. But at a certain point, there becomes a time when you just can't fake it anymore. Like there's no substitute for actually knowing what the rule is and what you're doing. So yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of rule books in my day. And the thing is though, you never stop learning. So there's always something where you're picking up something new in a rule book or something that you thought you knew that you interpreted one way is actually not how it's meant to be interpreted. And you learn that from either experience or another official or just being out there. So yeah, lots of rule reading important.
Right. So that's it for this episode. Again, thank you, Andrew, so much for all of the experiences and knowledge you shared. So tune in Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern Time to watch the next episode. And all episodes will be on our YouTube channel, Instagram TV. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok at RecChat. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.